Hello, everybody. This is Chuck Wiger, State Senator for the area, and today we're going to talk about adult education. And with me is an expert, Scott Helland. He's the Director for Adult Education for several of the school districts around the area. Tell us about the program.
So Harmony Adult Education is a combination of ISD 622, White Bear Lake, and Matamidi area schools. And
Partnership. So all the schools are working together.
We work together to go ahead and combine the funding to make the best use of it for the individuals. We have about 1,600 individuals come through us on an annual basis.
What type of programs? I see we have a great visual here. What is it that you do for the participants?
We have folks kind of straight out of the American history books. We have folks that are doing better for themselves and sometimes even just trying to improve the lives of their families. We have folks learning English. We have folks getting their GED. We're actually the largest GED testing center in the state of Minnesota.
And GED being the general education diploma.
So the general education diploma. And then we also have career pathways for students. So students who want to make that tipping into the job market. So we have that people can be paraprofessionals. We've had just in the past month about 8 new paraprofessionals come into the schools. It appeals to a lot of our learners because then they get the same work schedule as their children, so a lot of young families. We have folks working into IT careers, so getting jobs in different IT skills. So we have MOS, which gets you into working in an office, and then we have the higher level, the CompTIA A+, which gets you that you could be a help desk person making 40 to 60 grand a year. And then we have healthcare careers, so getting folks into a much needed part of
So the bottom line is people want to improve their lives.
Absolutely.
And that's a common denominator, and whether it's the language first, you may have immigrants, people new to the country. They may have been in a very successful field where they were. Perhaps they have, and I've been to the center, as you know. I've talked to people where people came to this country for freedom. They may have been a victim of torture, abuse. They're starting a new life. This gives them hope, and in order to get that passport for a better future, that's going to include training and skill development. And so that's what you do, put together programs for helping them achieve their dreams.
Yes, I mean, you've been to Harmony a number of times, and knowing we've had folks that have been rocket scientists in their own country, and they're here delivering pizzas because language is a barrier.
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, I've met people in highly technical fields where they start over. They're just coming over here with their freedom and with a dream.
Which is part of the pull of Minnesota and the United States, the fact that you give up all that to chase that dream that's possible here.
Okay. Now, at the legislature, over many years, there's been funding provided in partnership with the district. So tell us about how that works in state law, and additionally, there's federal support for these types of programs.
Yes, so there's funding that is, the primary funding is through the state, as you well know, being a part of the Education Committee. And the funding goes for all of the Metro has a larger ability to be able to aggregate individuals. So in the Metro, there's some charitable-based organizations that received only contact hour funding. But then just so that ABE is a Minnesota statewide program, it's given contact hour funding, plus there's over 21 no diploma for school districts so that it's everywhere in Minnesota, and a combination of some funding based on the K-12 EL students. So if they're learning English in the K-12, they probably have parents who also have some English language needs.
Yes.
So communities like I grew up in Melrose, Minnesota, where there's a large influx of immigrants because of different factories and plants there, then they're able to go ahead and adult basic ed funding matches the needs there in the community so that they can serve them.
Now, you're at Harmony School, formerly an elementary school, and it's just great to see how it's evolved, continuing its mission and providing education. You have a great staff. Tell us about the number of staff people that you have there at the Harmony Adult Education Center in Maplewood.
So we have about 19 staff teachers at our 5 sites. So we have Harmony is our primarily large site. We have 4 EL classes in the morning from beginner, intermediate, advanced, and then LEAP, our Learning English for Academic Purposes.
Yes.
We also have the IT class happening in the morning, and then in the evening we have another 4 classes. We used to only have 3, but we've had such a large influx of lower level learners
Yes.
that we added a 4th class to meet those needs.
Okay.
We hired a teacher from who grew up in Zimbabwe. Well, she was born in Zimbabwe, grew up in Canada, so she has a little Canadian accent, which is kind of fun for
Wonderful.
the students.
And the outside of Harmony?
Outside of Harmony, we have 4 different sites. We work with Century College in combination with their developmental ed math and their
Very
developmental ed
important.
reading.
But getting that math skill perfected will be the gateway for so many opportunities.
You say it exactly right. The gateway, that tipping point to getting people paid for their skills. You know,
Yes.
being able to make a living that's not just a job, but something
Okay.
that's a career for a family.
So the partnership with Century.
Yep. And then we have 2 sites in White Bear Lake area schools. One with their EL ECFE classes, so adults and kids
Great.
coming together.
Excellent.
And then we have the same type of EL ECFE classes in Beaver Lake in 622.
Yes.
And then in White Bear Lake at their ALC, we've just started this
The
year.
Alternative Learning Center.
Thank you for making me not speak alphabet to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
That class is a new English language learner. So we have 2 different levels in morning and evening. And then we just started a class with TLC Electronics in Matamidi that is, they have a primarily Hmong population that is working with them.
Yes.
And in order to improve their English skills, the company actually pays them to go to school, and then we provide the education.
This is
And
TLC Electronics.
TLC Electronics. So it's a fantastic new partnership.
Excellent. And who oversees what you're doing?
Oh, so actually, she's been interviewed here in this spot with you, Terry Johnson, Community Ed Director
So
from
the-
ISD 622, combined
community
with the other Community Ed Directors, Kathy Weiland and Tim Maurer from White Bear Lake and Matamidi.
This certainly captures the spirit of lifelong learning,
Absolutely.
of community involvement and responding to opportunities out there that exist, that it's a win-win situation, isn't it?
It absolutely is. I mean, it's even in the last month, we've had 2 different folks go ahead and get their GEDs and be able to join the military. One of them invited me out coon dog hunting after he got it, but
Okay.
he's off to basic training now. Another gal.
But this is what made it happen.
Yep. He was able, and it wasn't an easy process for him. You know, he said, you know, my dad's he's sitting there with pride, and he's like, you know, my dad said, you know, I'm just so proud of you for chasing your dreams, and you could just see that he felt more like a man.
Oh, good. What inspired you in
Sure.
this path?
You know, I grew up in an education family, so I knew flat out the only thing I was going to do was not be in education. And then I got later in life, and I started to follow my passion in college, and lo and behold,
Where'd you go?
I started out at the University of Minnesota Morris and
Yes.
finished up at the University of Minnesota, and then got my master's at Bethel and my principal admin licensure through St. Cloud State. So pretty much everywhere in Minnesota.
Okay. And you were raised in?
I was raised in Melrose, Minnesota.
Great. And then right now you're living in the area?
Yep.
Obviously.
Yep, I live up in Chisago Lakes, Lindstrom area.
And a family?
Family, 2 boys, 18 and 14, and my wife is a social worker.
Mm-hmm.
And just in thinking about kind of some of those folks that we've bumped into, just in preparation for talking to you today, I thought, well, you know, the statistics of the growth of adult basic education. I came into a program like in 2006 that had about 18,000 hours of students, and
Yes.
This past year we had 69,000 hours, so it's more than tripling. Because there was a lot of need out there that now is being met in a better way.
Yeah.
We're going ahead, and I think one of the areas with the career pathways and
Yes.
with the economy improving, we found that our evening classes are starting to grow even more than our morning classes, because folks are coming straight from work,
Yes.
8 hours of work, and then 3 hours or 4 hours a day of English language or career pathways, and just trying to do better for themselves.
Well, you're dedicated, your staff is as well, and the students. Talk about full of motivation.
Absolutely.
After a full day of work or whatever, coming in to learn more, to upgrade their skills, to make it a better life for themselves.
It's a fantastic place to be. I actually stopped by after work at a local hardware store in North St. Paul there, and ran into a student. I looked at him, I go, Dennis? And he goes, Scott, how you doing? He goes, and he's wearing a Dayglow uniform, and I'm like, obviously you're working now. And he just finished his GED with us about 6 months ago, and by getting the GED, he was able to start out at Minneapolis Public Works.
Excellent.
So, you can just, when people can get jobs, it means the world to them. Roof and food is kind of important to a family.
If there's persons watching that might want to get some more information, is there a website?
Absolutely. If you go to Harmony Adult Education, you could find us if you call 651-748-6208. Bao or Jason or Karen or I would be happy to help you out. If you go ahead and look on the website, if you just Google, if you've said, you know what, one of those career pathways might be something for me. If you look up ISD 622 career pathways or Harmony Adult Education career pathways, you'll go ahead and you'll find all the information you need about those, or you can email us, which is right there on the website.
Excellent. I want to thank all the area school boards for their participation in this partnership, Century College, the businesses that are actively engaged, and all of the students that are passing through. And very much I want to thank you for your passion for these students and making it a better world. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you,
Helland.
Senator Wiger.
And viewers, if you have any questions about the program, please give Scott a call. You've heard the telephone numbers, or his colleagues that would be happy to assist, or check out the website to get additional information. And again, congratulations to all the students, and never give up, follow your dreams.